Over the years, I've done so many things to become fluent in English. But there's only one thing I did that gave me 90% of the results. It made me understand everything I hear in English and speak fluently about any topic I want without a problem. And no, I didn't move to an English-speaking country or buy expensive courses. I mostly did it on my own from the comfort of my home. And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what that one thing is and how you can do it too. Here's the thing, many of you study a lot. Learn grammar, memorize vocabulary, watch videos on how to learn a language, and that's great. But you still struggle with English. You still can't speak it fluently. And the reason for that, the reason why most of what you're learning doesn't stick, is because you're not using English outside of study time. You might even take English classes a couple times a week, but then you go days without touching English. And of course, this makes progress very slow. It's just like school. Dude, I studied French in school for 11 years, from primary to high school. And today, I know only a few words in French. Why? Because I wasn't using it outside those classes. I'd go to class, study, then go home. And until the next lesson, I didn't use French at all. I didn't care about it. That's why I never learned it. Look, I'm sure many of you have friends who for some reason can speak great English. And when you ask them, hey, how did you learn it? They're like, oh, I just play a lot of video games and watch movies in English. Like what? You study grammar and vocabulary and all those things so hard, and they just play freaking video games and speak better English than you? That's the thing, English feels so natural to them and they can speak it very well because they're using it every day. They're surrounded by it all the time. So what did I do to get fluent? I created my own English environment, so I could use English all the time, not only when I studied it. Here's exactly how I did it. 1. I switched all my devices to English. My phone, my laptop, everything. At first it was confusing, like sometimes I'd have to search for a specific setting on my phone, but I didn't know what it was called in English. But what's important is that I didn't switch back. I tried to figure it out. Look, we use our devices, especially our phones, every single day, right? So if you make this simple change, you'll be interacting with English every single time you pick it up. 2. I consumed English content. You know, I spent a lot of time on the internet. I know that's not the best habit, but it helped a lot. I watched everything in English. Movies, YouTube videos, TV shows, you name it. Before that, I mostly watched stuff in Romanian, my first language, and Russian, because I also know it pretty well. But then I made this change, and like 70% of what I consumed was in English. At first, yeah, it was uncomfortable because I had to focus so hard just to understand. I had to rewind a lot, I had to watch with subtitles, and sometimes that really pissed me off because I'd be so busy reading the subtitles that I'd completely miss the action on screen. But that's normal, that's just part of learning a language. It's like you have to struggle a bit until English starts to feel natural and you can understand most of it. 3. I practiced speaking however I could. Like many of you, I also didn't have anyone to practice English with. So I started speaking with myself. You know, thinking out loud, talking about my day. I know it might sound weird to some people, but it wasn't weird to me, because it really helped. Also, when I watched interviews or videos where, people ask questions, I would pause the video and try to answer those questions myself. Then I did something called shadowing. I didn't even know it was called that until recently, where I repeated sentences out loud after native speakers to practice pronunciation. So by doing all these things, I really improved my speaking and felt more confident expressing my thoughts and opinions in English. Then later, I started posting content online. And through that, I met other creators and people who watched my videos, and I got to talk with them through texts and calls. That's how I started practicing English with real people, which honestly is the best thing you can do to improve your speaking. 4. I used English in my hobbies and daily life. When I was about 17 years old, I learned to play the guitar and sing a little. It's not that I'm a great singer or anything, but I started singing a lot of English songs. Also, I've always loved video games, so I started playing them in English. Then I got into self-improvement books, and at first I read them in my first language, but then I thought, why not try to read them in English? And to this day, I still read only English books. Like, I don't even remember the last time I read a book in Romanian. I don't know, it was probably about a year ago maybe. I really did almost everything in this language, even little things like taking notes or writing lists. And guess what? Even now, I still write my to-do lists in English. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna forget my native language soon. For real, there are days when I use English more than I use Romanian. What the hell? Like, if you speak more than one language, I think you know exactly what I mean. So as you can see, I created this environment where I was exposed to English every day. And the result was that the language became natural to me. I started understanding much more. My speaking and pronunciation got better. I remembered new expressions and words automatically because I heard and used them over and over again. Why does this work so well? Because learning is about use, not just study. For example, if you try to learn a lot of words from a list, probably you will forget them. But if you use them very often by speaking, writing, etc., they will stick. When you start surrounding yourself with English, it becomes almost impossible not to learn something new, not to improve. Why do you think people who move to America or the UK start speaking English pretty well after just a few months? Because they are surrounded by the language. They hear it, speak it, read it every single day. And it becomes inevitable to get better. That's how fluency happens, by living the language every day. So this is that one thing that will give you the biggest results if you want to get fluent. Surround yourself with English. Use it as often as you can. Switch your devices, your hobbies, your content to this language. This is a very practical and effective method actually. And I'm sure you can learn any language this way, not just English. Like, I learned Russian the exact same way. Yeah, I know starting to do a lot of the things you usually do in a foreign language instead of your native one isn't always comfortable at first. So you'll make mistakes, you'll struggle sometimes, and that's okay. That's part of learning. But if you keep going, eventually you'll get used to it. It will become natural. That's actually when you can consider yourself fluent. When English feels natural to speak and understand. And the great part about all this, you don't need to move abroad or spend a lot of money. You already have everything you need, the internet. So take advantage of this opportunity. It's not like before when you had to learn from textbooks, dictionaries, and take boring classes. Nowadays, you can really learn a language from home and for free. I mean, you didn't have to pay to watch this video, right? But there's still a small price you have to pay, hitting that like button, because it really helps the channel grow. Now, if you want to speed up your fluency even more, you have to stop translating in your head. That's exactly what I cover in this video, where I share 4 tips to train your brain to think directly in English. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you there. Whew, this is gonna be a good video.